guys. Hopefully you can hear us. We're live now. Welcome back to another podcast. Welcome back to the Health, Wealth and Happiness podcast. Got another very, very special guest with us today, Mark Van Pelt. He's a client in our second business. He's a strong leader of men, gets fantastic transformation results. I'm really excited to bring you guys on to talk not only about ultimately his revelations inside the industry and the marketplace, but also the community building of what he's done with his own business, the revelations he's had in helping high-performing men and women unlock serious results as well. So, Mark, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good, James. Thanks a lot for inviting me on, and I'm excited. This would be my first official podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, the background, I've always commented, I love your branding. Your background is serious. It looks high end. Looks great. Mark, for people that don't know you and haven't heard about you and your story, who is Mark? Where's he from? What does he do? Tell us more about you and your story.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So just like a quick, of who I am, what I do. It's like I grew up, actually I was adopted into a Dutch business owner family home, which has been obviously really instrumental in growing a business later on. And I was adopted quite young. I was around an entrepreneur household. I watched how high performing my dad was, what he sacrificed, what he did. And I was actually really severely underweight when I started this journey, and I had zero confidence. And basically I had someone actually take me under their wing, and I did all the wrong stuff at first, all the gym bro methods, and I didn't really get anywhere. And it was super frustrating, just massively frustrating, lots of time and money wasted. And I did have a coach that was actually quite premium of a coach, take me under his wing, and he just didn't taught me a lot. And that's actually what born the start of my passion for the fitness industry. And I looked around in the small town I was from, a little town of St. Thomas, Ontario, Canada. And there just wasn't a lot of hope in that town in the sense of health. And I want to be a difference, and I want to make my own name, not attach my name to my dad's business. So I kind of branched out and started doing my own thing and started working in the health and fitness industry. And it's been on and off journey for about 15 years. And I'm just as passionate as I was about it 15 years ago, which is really cool because of the changes I get to see in other people. So that really started my whole journey. And then I obviously, went from 135 pounds of 6'2" to 210 pounds of healthy weight. And it restored my confidence and my energy, and it really just set me on the path that I want to be on.
So I can personally relate to you a lot with what you're saying there about your identity and wanting to be your own man and creating your own legacy and being proud of that, especially in relation to your father and everything else. So I can relate to that. That was similar to me when I was growing up. And I love that you've discovered your passion and your lane and your industry and what inspired you to do. Tell me more about past the inspiration, getting into it, finding purpose of who you wanted to help and how you wanted to help them. Tell us more about that.
It was actually a really interesting journey because at the beginning stages, I honestly was a pretty entry level coach, and I kind of just helped whoever, anybody and everybody. But what I realized is people just kept coming back. There wasn't a lot of sustainability. There wasn't a lot of teaching methods. It was kind of here's your plan A, here's plan B, I'll see you later kind of thing. And as I grew in my craft and studied more and started learning more and seeing what are the pieces really missing to create this sustainable change, and I moved away actually to a different province, and it was really high performers. People were working shift work, they're business owners, they're CEOs, they're executives, and I had no idea how to help those people. So I actually went underground for a bit and worked in all these random industries to just better experience what they went through, the travel, the on the road sales. I was a truck driver for a year. That was horrible. I worked in the oil patch, swinging metal in a sledgehammer for 12 hours a day, worked night shifts. And as I did all that, it started going, okay, now I understand what people are going through. So not only do I have the knowledge side from the studies, but the physical application side. And those were the people I want to help, because I watched a lot of those people go, I'm just too busy. I'm on the road sales. I manage a company, or I run a company. I just can't look after my health. And it just I was like, no, that's the key piece to continue doing what you're doing at a high level and having success and just being super present in other areas of your life. So that's where it was flip switch. It was those are the people I really want to impact and help, because those are the people when they hit 45, after they grinded for 20 years, they're uh-oh, something's wrong with my body. And it's yes, let's not let that happen. Let's try to stop that earlier. And if it has started, let's get the right methodology going in place.
So I find this really interesting. I'm also transitioning because obviously this podcast is not only talk about how you help people, what you do, but more so the business revelations that have grown your company into where you are today as a man and as a business leader. And talk about those revelations of what you said there, that the reason has to be greater than the resistance, and you always will find a way, if so, that you were working, doing these jobs on the side whilst growing this business alongside, and you knew you just had to do it. You had to find a way to get the momentum and surplus in your business for you to then pull the other ventures away so you could go full time and all in. And a lot of people don't know and really understand really sometimes how much in the trench you need to be to go through that and come out the other side. It's not for everyone. And obviously you're a very good example of doing that. I also once again can relate to you because that was identical to me when I came out the hospital going into that. So I can really relate to you and understand really how much sometimes you've got to dog it out to get the momentum to then put staff in your business and grow outwards moving forward. Talk to us more about that, because there's a lot of people who will be watching this or listening in right now in a similar situation right now and trying to figure out whether it's possible for them to do.
Oh, I will tell people it is definitely possible if you're dedicated to your cause. Yeah. Like that's the one big thing is like if you have your cause and you have your vision, and your vision, in my opinion, should be big enough to scare the living crap out of you. Because if it's not, then it's not going to pull you hard enough during those really tough times. And there was a point when I went back into coaching full time, because I've been on and off coaching for 15 years. When I made that decision to go back into coaching full time, burn the bridge of my old corporate job and just all in, it was a super scary decision because I was working 12, 16-hour days in this massive corporation, like managing half of a province's accounts. And it was a lot as I was building my online base. And realistically, it's online, so you're competing against everybody. And I was like, this is a big change. This is not my little home gym where everyone knows my name and this is easy, right? And so when I came to that point, it was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I worked both at the same time. I was working 12 to 16-hour days in that corporate job while, helping and impacting people. And the reason why I could do that, though, was because the energy I received from watching people accomplish their goals, sit on a call with me and say, man, I used to not be able to touch my toes and I'm pain-free now. Though that was the fuel to my fire. And then we came to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm not at the point I want to be in my personal business yet, but I need that energy and more time to get it there. So I put my 2 weeks notice in and I went all in. And that was over 2 years ago now, since been doing the digital coaching, and it was the best decision I made to go all in. Yeah.
It's a good revelation that you've shared, and one that online coaches who are listening to this need to understand. Unfortunately, the start where you're trying to ultimately have enough income to pay your bills and everything else, largely you will find yourself in a hybrid client position that we call it, where you may be working a 9 to 5 whilst trying to grow a business alongside. It's a very challenging position to be in. And ultimately those early stages of that business are tough. And ultimately the sacrifices that you have to put in are for you to get the momentum. And whether that's time, energy, or resource, it will come. The most successful people I have seen have been the individuals who are obsessive, and with the greatest respect, Mark is one of those individuals, and that's what makes him special. I've been working with Mark for a good period of time now as a client. He's a fantastic client, and more importantly, he's a great leader and he's a great coach. And that's what I want to build on next, is that the back end side of things that you spoke about, the fulfillment side of things, getting the results, level of service, is something that Mark is extremely good at. Not because of just the programming and the genetic testing that Mark does, I'm sure he'll tell you about in a bit, but more so the man management, the leadership. That's what gets the clients going. That's what gets the clients results. They don't have information problems, also implementation issues. And that's why being a great coach is not enough. You have to be a great leader. And that's where I really look at Mark as someone ultimately who will get this right moving forward. Any thoughts on that, Mark?
Sorry, what was the exact question?
The exact question was more so the separation from where you've got to from just being a good coach is quite not enough. More so you being a great leader in propelling your trajectory of what you've achieved, more down to the character in who you are, is quite a big focal point in your business development.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, James, for clarifying that. I think the biggest thing is you're right. There's coaches are a dime a dozen, right? They really are, especially in the online space. Yeah. So it's what is kind of aside from some coaches have a very unique methodology that they do. And one of the things my business really truly believes in is the unique custom approach for you. And when I say custom, I mean down to people's genetic code. In my opinion, it's the cheat code for your long-term success. But even with that, it's not necessarily going to guarantee anything, because the other side of it is the education and the empowerment. And so like our company really truly believes on educating every client, encouraging every one of them during because there's going to be struggles. But then also the final piece is empowerment, actually giving them the right tools for the long-term success and understanding those tools. And that empowerment comes from our division where we do mindset coaching, we do lifestyle coaching, and we do habit coaching, because these three are the bolts and screws to build the building blocks that we all put in place: the workout plan, the genetic testing, the meal plans. All that other stuff is like the 2x4s of the house. But how do you put those all together? It's the mindset around it. It's the lifestyle we start to incorporate very slowly, the habit stacking, so that when we're done with a client and we do our exit strategy with them, they're self-sustainable. I have clients to this day that I haven't worked with in 6 months, and I'll get messages from them being like, it's so funny. Like, I used to look at a cupcake and think I was a bad person for wanting a cupcake. And now they're like sending me pictures of them enjoying a cupcake and enjoying their life and still hitting their goals. And I'm not even coaching them. They've got more goals. They got new goals. They've incorporated into their family home. That's the lifestyle stuff when you bring the family on board, and they're changing their family tree so that it's not a repeat of being a type 2 diabetic family. It's not a repeat of having always low back pain. And that is that shift that our company brings to the table with each individual on a very specific need.
Yes. I like the key word that you used in there was exit strategy. I think you're very similar to us in our online health and fitness business as well, the detailed approach and strategy, and actually formalizing it, running them like a business as opposed to a passover of information. And that level of depth and control is what's going to get the result, keep the result, and ingrain it moving forward, as you've been getting these great feedback in months and years gone by, which is fantastic. Like you alluded to there, 95% of your competition, our competition, is more so information protocols. And they don't have information problems, they're implementations. And that's where you're going to the root causes of your issues. And that's why this isn't online coaching, it's high performance coaching. And that's really what most consumers need. But naivety is that they feel they don't. And that's why we ultimately large amount of people, shall I say, are chasing these surface level solutions, and they think it's the solution to solve their problems, and it ultimately reduces the time that they have, wasting time, shall I say, the one commodity that they have. So they're big revelations for people to learn and understand. You've got to be careful in the approach that you take with this, and it may seem more premium, but it ultimately will save a lot more time in the grand scheme of things, which you're seeing with your clients, which is amazing, Mark. Really good stuff.
It's that principle. It's like, do you want a bunch of tools and then just throwing them in a situation? Then that, and like, in my opinion, a tool would be like something like doing, a ketogenic diet. That is a tool. Or would you prefer a blueprint?
Yes.
And then you choose the right tools to work with the proper blueprint. And that's what I've noticed is that you're right. A lot of other, 95% of other coaches online, they're throwing tools out. Like, here's your program A, here's your, random diet B, but there's no blueprint behind the scene of it. So
Absolutely. Now, I know you're a big advocate of mental health, not only for the clients that you work with in high pressure careers that they have, as well as ultimately yourself in your own business. And a lot of online coaches looking to ultimately create that stability and that mental stillness inside their company, where they can ultimately try and reduce the anxiety and the pressure of constant sales as well. What are your thoughts on that, the importance there of that, and best ways to navigate and manage that?
That's a good question. Like, I think everyone's going to be everyone's going to be in a different thing, but I find like really sitting back and like analyzing your time budgeting, because that literally leads to mental health too. Like, everyone's so frantic. They almost wear the "I'm so busy" as a badge. And don't get me wrong, as a business owner, there are seasons where you're like, I'm so busy, but not wearing it as a badge and going, okay, I'm so busy because of the specific goal, but how can I manage my mental health during this? And I'll be the first person to tell most of my clients this is invest in yourself. Like, invest in yourself for your mental well-being as well. We've all been through traumas. We've all been through tough times. invest yourself, speak to like a professional. Like I know myself, like I have people in my life strategically placed to continue with my mental health growth, to continue with like my time management, to continue with finances, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, that is a huge piece, which is why, we've brought in that mindset coaching to help kind of like, because a lot of people look at situations and go, oh, like I have to do it right now. And I got taught a great thing. It's like, is this a glass ball or a rubber ball? A glass ball is something, if you drop it, bad things happen. But really, you got to start assessing your life and going, was this a rubber ball where it's like, it could bounce back, maybe it's scaling some time back with that family members that get you stressed out after you talk with them for 20 minutes because maybe they're all negative. Maybe you got to scale that back because your mental well-being is going to create the next 5 to 10 years of your success. Realistically, because physical is part of it. And I think they go really hand in hand, but you have to start thinking what do I want to be like? Who do I want to be like? How do I want to look? How do I want to feel? That's where it starts. And then the physical helps bolster that and flame that as well. So
Gotcha.
Hope that answered the question.
I love it. No, absolutely. I want to play a game with you. Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot once again. Okay. So this is coming right at you. Okay. Mark has had no time to prepare for this, guys, by the way.
Yeah,
so
I was like,
I trust him. I trust him. He's good like this. Okay.
My to-do list today.
Okay. Right. So I'm going to ask you the top 3 tips, advice, revelations that you want to give, or high performing men that want to recapture physical or mental performance. 3 tips and advice for them on how to do that. I also want 3 tips and revelations advice for aspiring online coaches, business owners who want to succeed inside the industry as well. Pick your 3, both sides of the pond. Over to you.
All right. So high performing men or even women can use this
and
too.
Women,
right?
yeah, of course.
You want to succeed in your physical journey that you're looking at. One of the biggest things I'd say is sit down on your Sunday or whatever, your Saturday. I don't care what day it is of the week, but plan your week out and treat it like it's gold. Like I tell people this. Some people talk about meal prep. That's the hardest thing is what I find. Most people are saying, oh, I can't meal prep. If you strategically plan out your meal prep and it takes you an hour and a half, let's say, that's the best ROI you're going to get on your life because that you're feeding your mind, you're feeding your body. You're not worrying about what happens during the week if, kids get sick or whatever. You prepared yourself to feed your body. It's an engine. So sit down, make your calendar for the week. I do it every single week. And don't let anyone get in the way of it unless it's a crazy crisis urgency. Other than that, just say, hey, I'm actually busy that day. I'm scheduled. I have something scheduled. I have a meeting with myself and we're going to the gym. That's the step 1. The step 2 is, to be honest, I tell people this, get a real plan. Like don't try to just piece this stuff together, right? Because if that was going to work, it would have worked by now. Right? It's not a lack of your plans on the internet that people find or YouTube channels, or it's not that. Find someone that you trust, that you believe is going to help you solve other problems, and they can design something for you. And just shortcut the process. You're going to save yourself time, and you're going to save yourself money. And the third thing I would say is sitting down with yourself and being honest and setting realistic goals. It's not about dropping 30 pounds or whatever the goal is in 30 days. Realistically, you're going to be unhappy when you do that because you're going to be starving yourself and overperforming, and you're going to burn out. And you're already a high performing person, so let's not try to burn out faster. So sitting down and setting realistic goals with yourself, and a coach can help you with that. So those are the top 3 things that you could literally start doing right away and start thinking about and putting an action plan in place. And now this is a bonus one. Action plans. There's 2 types of things. There's action and there's movement. So a movement would be like you putting on your gym shoes, getting your gym stuff ready and all that. You're doing so much movement, you feel like you're accomplishing something. Action is getting to the gym and picking up that first weight. That's the key. Are you doing movement towards your goals or are you doing action towards your goals? That's your bonus.
I like this. Just summarize your first 3 here. So taking action and making actionable easier for people with, when you say creating structure for them, time auditing, lifestyle manager reporting, make sure you've got a system that's dialed into you and your time constraints to make it attainable. So then you can actually action like Mark says and ultimately reap the rewards. I love this. Okay, next 3, onto the other side of the pond here. Talk to us.
What was the other question? Like ADD brain.
Online coaches like you, okay, who have you come to us to grow your business. What do they need to hit?
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. I've had online coaches reach out to me actually, or like people who have they're coaching in person. They want to go online.
Okay.
And the first thing I tell them is, I'm like, be friends with everybody on your friends list, because you don't know. When I started, I reached out to every single person who followed my Instagram account and just said, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate the support. Be a friend to everybody. Don't worry about the sale. Don't look at them as a dollar number. Be a true friend and truly care. So that's number one. Number two is understand if you want to create a business of some type and you want to do that, in order for this version of you and this business of you to happen, you have to sacrifice something else. So sit down with yourself and say, what am I willing to sacrifice to create the version I want and the business I want to help the people I want? If you're not clear on that, it's going to be a big struggle, to be honest. And the third thing is hire somebody. Like the flat is like your brain is fantastic, and there's a small percentage that can get to somewhere else without any help. But the reality is the smartest entrepreneurs and business owners, they go, I can do this part A, B, C, but I have no idea how to do all the other letters of the alphabet. So if you really want to create change and success, reach out to other people. And there's a lot of there's some free master classes you can participate just to get a feel. Like, is this the person I want to work with? Are they going to be, good for me? And just like when people interview you to see if they want to hire you as a coach, interview someone else and make that decision, that investment, which is why you're probably going to work a regular job and build your business at the same time, so you can funnel into yourself. You're investing in your long-term goals. So those are the top three right there.
Top man. I really appreciate you coming on today. I know you're a very busy man as well. We've got a coaching call coming up as well that we need to get on as well. I know you've got loads of clients you need to attend to as well. Thank you so much for your time, Mark. There's a lot of revelations, a lot of value there. Before we drop off here, where can people find out more about you? Where can they go?
Yeah, so you can either follow me on my Instagram account, which is MVP, the number 2, and then type in the word fitness, and the rest of it will auto-populate. It's MVP Fitness and Nutrition. You can go to my website, which is www.mvp2fitness.com. Those are probably the easiest ways. You can find me on Facebook as my name, Mark Van Pelt, just how it sounds, van like the vehicle, and then pelt like beaver pelts. That's the way I always do it when I'm on a call with somebody, a telemarketer. I'm like, nope, got the wrong person. It's not Mark Pelt. Those are probably the easiest ways that you guys can reach out to me. You can book a free consult right on those both platforms.
Absolutely. Guys, Mark's a great coach, great leader, got a lot of respect for him, a lot of time for him. Go check him out, go and consume his content. He's got a lot of education, inspiration to help you guys with in the future. And if you do reach out to him, say hello from us on the podcast, say you came from the podcast, say hello. That would be amazing. And guys, if you've got any questions for me and Mark in the future, do let us know. If you want to hear about me and Mark on more podcasts together, more specific topics you want us to cover, let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Any revelations, let us know. And we will see you in the next one, guys. See you later.
Fantastic. Bye. Thanks so much, James. I appreciate it.